It's giving Gaston, my first dark romance, one might say. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we're starting this video out with excellent news. I figured out how to add the microphone to the new camera. I don't think I've mentioned it yet. Maybe I have, correct me if I'm wrong, but I decided to invest in myself and invest in this hobby and try and make an overall better viewing experience for all of you. And I bought myself a camera and I bought myself a microphone to go with that camera. And as we've, gone through the transition of recording on the phone with a little microphone that I hooked up to the phone to now this setup, we've had some learning curves. So last week's video talking about the life of the traveling book club, I had to do some editing to figure out how to get the audio better. And I'm not gonna lie, next week's video was recorded before I figured this out. But moving forward, I know how the microphone works. Now that all of that is over with and we are all caught up, let's get into all of the books that I read in March. I don't know about you guys, this is the second year in a row for me where March has just not been it. It's been a fine month, don't get me wrong, but 2025, 2026, both years, I did not hit my average reading that I had hit the first 2 months of the year. So this video might be a little bit shorter than the other reading recaps, and that's okay. It's always our goal to get things to you in a more manageable amount of time, especially while we're still growing. Trying to say less, but it's so conditioned in me. Let's get started, okay? Our very first book of the month is Bookish and the Beast. Look at this pretty cover. It's shiny, it has a dog on it. We're already getting off track. So this is the finale in the Once Upon a Con trilogy by Ashley Poston, and I thought it was just as good as her first two books in this trilogy. In this one we have a contemporary YA romance that is a modern retelling. I guess modern and contemporary, same thing, right? This is a retelling of The Beauty and the Beast. So we are following, as normal, I have my computer to the side of me with my notes so that I cover all of my bases. We are following Rosie, who is dealing with college applications, grieving her mom, and a persistent, popular guy at school who won't take her, no, I don't want to go to homecoming with you, seriously, and who just keeps asking her and eventually just straight up tells her, you're gonna go to homecoming with me. It's giving Gaston, and I'm glad that we have a Gaston character in this retelling, but he made me so angry. No means no. We also have, returning from book 2, our male main character, Vance. He's kind of the bad boy in the teenage acting world, and some drama has happened. Some drama has ensued. And, I don't know if you could hear that cat hiss. So sorry, we had to deal with some cat drama. Vance is the teenage bad boy in the film industry, and he's now hiding out in this small town to let the press kind of settle because he's been getting some not so great press recently. Through a series of events, we see Vance and Rosie meet, and in true Beauty and the Beast fashion, we have Rosie going through and cataloging the library at the house that Vance is staying at. And it's not just these two alone. That might be a little bit odd because they're teenagers. It's him and his chaperone basically are staying in this house. We get to see their story unfold, and I just think we get the perfect amount of enemies to lovers with a touch of forced proximity, and there may be a secret, like, second love story happening if you pay attention. Shout out in the comments if you've read this book and if you clocked the sub-romance before it was revealed, because I did. I did, and I was here for it. I loved it so much. Overall, I gave this book a 3.75 stars. It was above your average YA rom for me, and it was really cute. I think it ended the trilogy really well. Our next book is our first audiobook of the month, and that is An Ancient Witch's Guide to Modern Dating. This book sounded and looked so promising. It sounded really funny, and I don't know, it was funny. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't funny. There were a couple of times that I laughed, but I think it was a little bit slower than I would have liked in the pacing. So I'm glad that this was a library listen for me. It was still a great read. I rated it 3 stars, so just like an average, your average book. Wasn't bad, wasn't stellar. We are following Thorn Scarheart, and she is propelled from the 17th century. She's a witch. She made a little spell. Wasn't supposed to be a time travel spell, but she goes from the 17th century, where she is struggling to find love, all the way to the 21st century, to modern day, where she is also struggling to find love. I think there's a lot of growth that happens in this character. I just wish, I don't know if I wish it happened a little bit faster or in a different way. I don't know. I think I had the possibility to be a higher rating than it was. But there were some twists and turns. I have noted, like Mackenzie, there were some twists and turns that caught you by surprise, and that's true. And I think that if you enjoy more of a slow burn and more of maybe a comedy, this might be the book for you. Give it a try if that's it, and let me know what you think. Our next book is The Comeback by Lily Chu. I love Lily Chu. I read her first book, The Stand-In, and was like, yes, this is the type of writing that I adore. And so the next time that there was a sale going on at my local indie, I just bought all of her books, I think. Yeah, I even got this one. It was signed. I did not get to meet Lily Chu, but look, she signed it. That's her signature. Very cool. Just bought all of her work so that I could have a physical book on my shelf that I could pull when I needed a good read. So this is her second book, and it follows Ariadne, a lawyer, who is struggling to make partner. And this is like her father's dream for her. Her father is also a lawyer, and they only talk about being a lawyer and her making partner. Almost as if maybe being a lawyer and making partner is more his dream than it is hers. But she's also struggling to be a good daughter and struggling to be a good sister. Just overall, our girl, she's struggling. And she's very much looking forward to having a month to herself. She will still be working, but her roommate is going to be gone for a month, traveling for work. She comes home, supposed to be the first night where she gets the apartment all to herself, and there's a man in her apartment. She does what any sensible woman would do and like grabs a knife and screams, only to find out that her roommate, before she left, forgot to tell her that her cousin, so her roommate, I think her roommate's name is Hannah, her cousin, Jin-hoon, please forgive me if I've pronounced that wrong. I did read this, so it was just my brain. He's staying in his cousin's bedroom for this next month while she's gone. And romance happens, some self-discovery happens. Both of our main characters learn that it's okay to put themselves first, and that honestly, to be able to take care of others, they need to take care of themselves as well. I also just have written here that I think Lily Chu does such a great job at taking romance, which I think as a genre for non-readers, romance is something that might be easily made fun of. I know I've had that in my life. But she takes this genre that is wonderful and that on the surface is just a love story, and she teaches so much. For me personally, I get to put myself in shoes that I've never worn before. I've never had Asian heritage. I've never been Canadian. And her books take place in Canadian as an Asian Canadian. And I just love learning about this different culture and these different dynamics that I'm not used to. And I think she does such a good job about this, about teaching people small truths about themselves while having a romantic storyline going on, while also showing that women can have it all. We can have the happily ever after. We can have the career we want. Nothing is impossible. So that's my shout out to Lily Chu, that I adore her. I don't think I told you what I rated this book. It was a 4.75 stars for me. Clearly I loved it, and we will keep going. We are back to having an audiobook floating next to me, and this is Padawan. This is, I think, my first Star Wars book of the year. I did read Carrie Fisher's autobiography earlier in the year that is specifically about Star Wars, but this is my first Star Wars story, I believe. And in this, we are primarily focused on Obi-Wan as a Padawan, and kind of early on in his Padawan life stage, in the time of his life in which he is a Padawan. And this is actually my second book where I've read where Obi-Wan is a Padawan. And I will say, just as a whole, I know it's canon that there was some tension between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in the universe, and that's why we have these books showing how different they are and how they kind of butt heads in the struggles that they go through. But I'm a girl. I'm just a simple girl. I'm a girl like everyone else. And I just want a book where I can see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon being the best buddies that I believe that they are. I digress. In Padawan, we see Obi-Wan take a kind of unsanctioned space mission to a planet that he discovered. He was supposed to go with Qui-Gon, but through a series of events, he goes by himself. And when he gets to this planet, he finds that there aren't really other adults. There's a whole bunch of teenagers who seem to have Force-like abilities, but don't know what the Force is. And we see him struggle with his identity and what does it mean to be Obi-Wan, and is being a Jedi the path he's supposed to be on? Is it what's right for him, and is it what the universe wants and needs? As an adult reading it, it was a good book. I gave it 3.5 stars. I think that this book would be a lot more impactful for a young adult who is maybe facing these questions in their daily life of trying to discover who they are. This isn't to say that self-discovery just magically ends when you grow up. I'm almost 30 and I am still learning about myself practically every single day and all of those things. I do think that in this book specifically, it would be a lot more successful for that young adult who kind of needs this guide, and it's this person that they've looked up to, this fictional character that they've seen on the big screen in the books. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Bear with me. This audiobook is called Death's Obsession, and it's a wild ride. I don't really do a lot of dark romance. It's not my typical jam. I saw this book, I think, on Instagram. Bookstagram got me, guys. They're like, it's a dark romance, and the male main character is the Grim Reaper, and he will do anything for this woman who he's in love with except for take her soul, and that's what she wants. Oh, I was sold. I hopped on the Libby app, placed my hold. I was like, please notify me, Branch, when you get a copy of this audiobook. I want to listen. And it came in just in time for, I had literally a day full of doctor's appointments. If you haven't seen my video, like talking about a check-in and like where this channel's going, I briefly talked about like I've been having some health issues, still ongoing. We're getting that resolved. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. But I had a whole day of health appointments. And I decided, what better way to distract myself from a day full of driving from doctor's office to doctor's office than a nice little, I think it was just over 5 hours, audiobook. My first dark romance, one might say. And it was exactly what it said it was going to be. The Grim Reaper was our male main character. It was a dark romance. He was 100% stalking this woman. My notes don't even have her name. I did my little going on to Goodreads to like look at the things. I got to Death's Obsession and I said, I don't even need to look at this. I remember everything. I remember clutching my steering wheel, yelling, he's a stalker. This is not good for you. And I had a great time. I had an excellent time. I gave it 3 stars. I think if you are into dark romance, it would be a lot higher than 3 stars for you. And I think if you like very spicy books, it might also be a higher than 3 stars for you. For me, it was the perfect average book. It delivered exactly what I thought it was going to. And then I got to talk to my friend Victoria and be like, oh my God, what did I just read? No other words. March had a whole bunch of 3-star reads for me. I had a video, didn't do too great, talking about different star ratings. And for me, it's just a 3-star is your perfectly average book. It delivered what it said it was going to deliver. You would recommend it, but it's not like you're gonna like write the book title on your soul. I don't know, that kind of sounds dramatic, but I'm just a girl and I can be dramatic. Big Damn Hero was one of my books this month, and it was another 3-star read. If you are a fan of the TV series Firefly, and of course the movie Serenity, you're gonna like this book. I think if you are a fan like me, it might be, especially this first book, might be more of just a 3-star read for you, because it's introducing all of our characters. We follow the whole crew of the Serenity and we learn about them. So if you've seen the series multiple times and you know, if you know, you know, I think if you like science fiction and you haven't seen Firefly and you don't really want to watch the show, you can go ahead and read this first book. You're going to get the basic picture. I think I'll continue the series like as I have time and as I want to mix up and like maybe take a break from some of the romances that I typically read and like let the rest of the series wow me, hopefully. But yeah, overall, it was a good book. If you are also a Firefly fan, are you like me, thrilled that there's going to be an animated series with all of our characters back. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled. I will be watching it. Our next book is another audiobook, and that is I, Medusa. I am such a fan of Greek mythology. I don't have to say anymore. You guys know that I'm a Greek mythology fan. And this is exactly that. I, Medusa is another telling of Medusa's story. Similar to books like Circe, and I was going to name another one, but the one I was going to name, I haven't actually read yet. It's on my TBR. We get to see a woman in Greek mythology, her story, through her own eyes. We follow Medusa, and we follow her through the 4 stages of her life. If you don't want any spoilers, you can skip ahead like 10 seconds. Those 4 stages are the 4 different parts of the book, and that is mortal, maiden, mistress, and monster. If you are also a fan of Greek mythology or even Roman mythology, and you know Medusa's story, you know that there is validity for content warnings. I will say, I listened to this book, and normally when a book has content warnings, even the audiobook, I get that page. It's just spoken to me. This book didn't have it. I was lucky enough to have a friend who read it before me, so I just straight up paused the book. I texted Kat and I was like, hey girl, 1 to 10, how sensitive is this book? How much of a content warning do I need? And she said that there are sensitive topics that are mentioned, but that overall it's not too much. She said that she thought I could handle it. So if you are someone who would like content warnings, I would maybe check online and check the Goodreads or the StoryGraph, whatever book app you have, or just go to Google and look for those content warnings and then decide if this book is something that you would like to continue with. For me, I really enjoyed the story. I loved seeing how Medusa's life changes through these 4 very different phases, and how she grows and how she takes ownership of who she is. And she learns about herself, but she also learns about her sisters, who in mythology become Gorgons as well. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought the narrator was superb. I think we all know that an audiobook can be made or broken by a narrator. This one was definitely good. I would also say the book looks beautiful. Like, look at this again. Has a gorgeous cover. If there happens to be a sale, I could see myself getting this for my bookshelf as like a trophy, or as a way to lend it out to friends who want to read the physical book, because I did really enjoy it and it's stunning. And now we're getting to the book that really caused my slowdown. And it's such a tragedy because, you know what? Wait, first, it was a 3-star book. Delivered what it said it was going to deliver. It was a good book. It was a good book. This book did slow me down. Normally I read about 1 physical book a week. Some of the books that I've shown you are the physical books that I own, but I listen to the audio version. This book, instead of taking me 1 week, I think took me almost 3. I spent most of March reading this book. Maybe it was the book, and maybe the pacing was a little bit slower than what I typically like and associate with this author. Maybe I had a lot going on in my life. Things happen. People get busy. And March was a pretty busy month for me. I won't stall anymore. It's The Takedown by Lily Chu. Everything I said earlier in this video about Lily Chu stands. I would like to reiterate it here. She's an excellent author, and I do love reading her work. The pacing for this book was slower for me. And our female main character, her name is Dee. I feel like in her first 2 books, I definitely couldn't identify with the first 2 female main characters. I'm not a movie star, I'm not a lawyer. There was that little bit of whimsy that I feel like she does so well in her books. She truly does capture realistic whimsy in such a good way. I couldn't get that with this one. There were so many times that I was reading this book and I just wanted to be like, Dee, stand up for yourself. Say no. Tell people that this is your house and it's your house. Just stand up for yourself. Just stand up for yourself. And she does eventually. And I will say, you know what? I'm going to give Lily Chu credit because it takes her this whole book to learn how to stand up for herself and to learn that it's okay to not be 100% happy, sunny, shiny day, whatever. Because it takes her the whole book. When she does stand up for herself, the payoff is so much bigger. And I'll admit that. It was a good payoff. I love that because of the timing that it took, her relationships developed, and instead of exploding and causing damage on these relationships, she was able to stand up for herself in a way where the relationships were, hi Artie, mostly maintained. But it was a lot slower for me. This book focuses, Artie, what are you doing? This book focuses on the fashion industry, and I think she did her research really well. I just didn't quite grab my attention as well as, movie stars and K-pop with the first 2 books. I have a couple more notes on it, but I think I'm just gonna end this part of the review with, if you love fashion and you love maybe The Devil Wears Prada, this might be the Lily Chu book for you. And if so, let me know. Let me know what you think, please. Pretty please. And last, but certainly not least, our final audiobook of March, Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter. This was a 3-star read for me. I told you that this book was just pretty average all around. There were a couple standouts. This was my first cozy fantasy. Normally when I'm doing anything fantasy, romantasy, fantasy, cozy fantasy, I like to do audiobooks because in my experience with fantasy, I need help. I feel like I keep track better of what our characters are doing when I'm able to have the audio input. Cozy fantasy, I might actually do okay with reading. It's a lot slower of a pace. Not that that's a bad thing. I really enjoyed that it's almost as if we're just living in this person's life for the events that are happening. We follow Agnes as she's looking for a new rental place to host her cat shelter. And through a series of events, she ends up renting from a wizard. I really enjoyed that we got to live in this and that there was a subplot of romance, but it was never the main point. And if you don't like spice, there's nothing on the page. I think there's 1 kiss throughout this whole book. So I don't have too much to say about it. It was really interesting. I don't know if I'll typically go for cozy romances moving forward. It's not even a cozy romance, it's a cozy fantasy. I don't know if I'll continue doing that. The thing that really interested me, this is the Cozy Cat Reader channel, and this was a book about cats. I thought all of the touches about people who love cats that were included. Oh my goodness, I will say as a content warning, there are scenes where cats are in danger, but the cats are always safe. Nothing bad happens to the cats. That is your warning. You are welcome. The thing that I personally loved the most about this is that it reminded me of a real life cat shelter out in California. It's called Wonky Hearts. I will try and link them in the description. They take on cats with special needs and special circumstances, and they make sure that they are healthy and have everything that they need to succeed, and that they can have long, successful lives and can be adopted out. So I thought there were so many like small instances in this book that reminded me of things that I've seen that shelter post. So that was my personal favorite part, was kind of relating it to real life, but having a magical twist. And that is it. I only read 9 books in March, and it was great. Hopefully April I'm reading a lot more books. I am reading Project Hail Mary. Yay, it's excellent. I cried. I'm going to cry again. I've already seen the movie, and I cried at the movie as well. So until next time, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Hello, I should have done this at the beginning. Hello, new subscribers. I'm so excited to have you here. And hello again to everyone coming back. Until next Tuesday, I hope that you are in the middle of a really good book and that you are having a great week. And this is just my little plug. You've heard it here first. The last 2 videos in April, they're really good ones. I'm really excited. I hope that they come together as I have visualized. And I think they will. So see you in those videos. Bye.